Alright, so what's up everyone? I'm making this tutorial to help out people on this Reddit forum who are having some, or a bit confused. So some guy posted this picture, so can someone explain this to me? And it's a little guide that really summarizes the basics, almost like basic little shortcuts of Arrow Raid, I'll call them. Like, shortcuts is the right word. So everyone seems to be like really confused. The Super Stock Legend guy said not even to bother with it. And I just want to kind of break down for those who are curious like what this is actually talking about. So this is kind of like a little summary of almost little shortcuts of how you can almost kind of shortcut your way into starting to do arrow right and arrow left. So when you use directional arrow, um, you can either be doing like one of two things. You can be using kind of like muscle memory moves almost that kind of push you side to side, or you can be kind of like adjusting non-stop where depending on where your car is. So right here, if I stop here, I see the back of my car. I see where the back of my car is, and I know what direction my car is facing. I know what adjustments to make. Um, Most people make adjustments only when the roof of their car is facing them because they're not comfortable with making adjustments on the fly, or let's say backwards. They're not used to the muscle memory. Um, but yeah, so when you get good enough, you start making adjustments always. Like, you don't stop making adjustments. If you look at someone like Squishy Muffins do it, you're gonna see like the nose of their car is almost always making little adjustments. But this chart's actually a really good way into starting out how you want to do it. I'm just gonna pull it back up. So let me break down what this means. So this chart implies you're supposed to go in like some kind of big circle. That's not what you're gonna want to do. Don't even worry about kind of the circular part at first. I'm actually gonna demonstrate what it's actually really trying to show. No, yeah, I'll go do a WordPad, perfect. So what it's actually telling you to do, like, don't focus on like that. Just imagine like the center. This is your analog stick, and you can go in this direction, you can go in that direction, that direction, that direction. Don't imagine it like this. Just imagine like this. So when you go to the top left, while okay, so what does this mean? Let me just explain. When the car is not upside down. So when the car is not upside down, it's basically just saying when you're in the air and you're like this. You're like this. So like this. And this is upside down. So going back to the chart, if you pull up the chart, you're gonna see if you go to the top right, it's the car, the nose of your car is gonna go down left. So I should have my I don't have my OBS up. I don't have my OBS up, but you can try for yourself. So if I go to the top right and I start arrow link, so basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start holding my arrow right the second I start pushing in that direction. So you see how it went down left? The nose of the car started pointing down left. So that's how you get your car to kind of turn in that direction. The implication of that, so just because it makes your car point in that direction doesn't necessarily mean you're going to move in that direction. You're almost kind of, this is almost like a shortcut to learn a little move. And what that move is good for is, let's say like, obviously when you're arrowing, you're going to be straight up. You're not going to be kind of like straight up like this. You're going to be like this. So what that's good for, to go in the top right corner, is to go to the left. So let's say I'm on rings, and I'm like this. I need to go to the left, so I'll do that to push my car to the left. See how my car went flying to the left like that? Bang. I'll hold boost the whole time. So there. If you want to go left. Go left. Now what's next? So the next one is, let's say, down right. See what it says. It makes the car go down right. So let's go try that out. So now if I if I click arrow right while I put my analog stick to down right, it should make me go, what did it say, down right, I think? Yeah, so it makes my nose go down right. Now what that's good for is good for, the indication is you're going to the right. So it's like the opposite. So let's say too much to the left, I gotta go to the right. Now take the to the right, takes me to the right, takes me to the right, takes me to the right. So we put them together, left, right, right. And like left, right here, and you kind of need to go right. So I'll be pushing kind of back right when I turn here. It's a little bit more complicated because the angle is different, but here I go left, here I go left. And obviously, so the thing is, these circles, so the idea, when you get, like, don't really focus on this now, but just so you understand why it's kind of like in the circular ways, because you're supposed to make little circles, but that's when it gets a little bit more complicated. You can also get away right now with just kind of pointing in the direction and just letting go at the right time. So you'll learn the right time. You're try it a couple times, and you're going to see when you let go at different points, it like, if you let go at one certain point, it's going to bring your car back to normal. So if I do kind of halfway through, it kind of brings it back up to normal, you know? But, if you watch like a tutorial like Squishy Muffins, he's going to tell you like the key is to make a little circle in directions. But don't worry about that now. Really, you can get away, and you don't even have to learn the other side. Like, there's two sides, right? There's this side and there's this side, but you can kind of get away with only even knowing one side, and that's what I would concentrate with first. It's so hard to get into learning arrow right or arrow left that it's better to kind of not to try to feel your way out everywhere you go, but it's better to kind of start super simple with these little tricks, and then as you get more comfortable with them, you do more and more and more. So yeah, so you kind of get the idea of this now, and it's important to concentrate on like just one of the quarters, like just let's say this quarter first. And then you have to understand that everything else just this flipped. So arrow left, everything's just going to be flipped. It's going to be the opposite. The direction you put the arrow. And when your car's upside down, it makes sense. It's just that flipped. But it's useful to know when you get more comfortable because, so again, like I said before, most people will only do adjustments when they see the hood of their car, when the hood of the car is facing them. But that means you have to wait for the entire spin to complete, which is pretty fast. The entire spin is pretty fast. The entire spin to complete before you can make another adjustment. But it's a little bit slow. So even what I just did right there, I don't know if you were able to see. So let's say like here. So okay, when I get to that third ring, you're gonna see when my car is like this, backwards, upside down, as he calls it in the picture, I'm gonna input downward to the left to make myself move to the left. Even though downward to the left usually brings myself to the right, because you see, like when I'm facing, when the front of the car is facing me, it's bring me to the right. But if I'm backwards, it's gonna bring me to the left. And it's good to know like a lot of these little tricks, because the more you know, the more you're able to adjust at different points in your spin. So that's why it's good to know it flipped, because then you can do like more, like you can do twice the amount of adjustments in one spin. I can do my adjustment here to go to the right, and then let's say I want to go to the left, I can go to the left. So kind of go to the left like that, and then I can go to the right. Whatever. It's a little bit hard. I should have my OBS up and have my PlayStation like controller cam up, but hopefully if you try this out, you're gonna see what I mean. So it shouldn't really make a difference. So yeah, so once you get really good, you're gonna start adjusting all the time. But for now, it's better to just use these little shortcuts and then pick up more and more little shortcuts as you go and kind of add them in, and eventually have like a whole bunch of little shortcuts, bunch of little mesh memory to go off of. And once you get more comfortable with that, then you'll start slowly to pick up a little more adjustments, see what works. Because even when you fail, you're gonna realize, like, you don't even realize it, but you pick up a little muscle memory. Your brain's always learning, and you're not even gonna realize when you're doing certain adjustments that you know how to do them. You're just gonna kind of do them on the fly. And when you get to that point, you're gonna want to practice. You really need perfect car control for this. You really want to be able to be comfortable with going frontwards, like 100%. You need to be able to go like frontwards 100%, and even backwards 100% too. And then after that, you want to be able to go kind of on the sides. So let's say you'll do like a training pack, and you'll start like this, or here you'll do. Here, let me show you. This is how I learned. So I downloaded Workshops, you're gonna really want to get ring workshops. The best one to start off with is speed jump rings 2. It's the easiest one. And then Lethrmir's giant rings, like the cool one. Everyone likes to do it. It's not that hard. Like the levels start off pretty easy, but you're not gonna be able to get past level like 4 or 5 when you just start. So it might get a little bit boring. This one you can get through most of them pretty easily. So this is probably the best one to start with. But what I did for learning how to like perfect my car control is I went in like speed jump 2, and I would do this whole map like backwards on the side to make sure I was comfortable in all directions. So I would do this. I would kind of go into this map, do easy because you don't need to do more than that, and I would just practice doing it backwards and getting the wall backwards, and then I would do it from the side, you know. So that's how you get good at like knowing how to make the little adjustments all the time, because your car's spinning non-stop and it's hard to even pay attention to. But eventually after you get those little shortcuts done, you'll have almost like, you won't have to think as much when you do it, and you'll have more brain power to put towards making those little adjustments, and over time your brain will learn the different muscle memories, and it'll get a lot better, and you'll start making adjustments you don't even realize you're making. Is there anything else I want to give? Little tips. When you start off, you're gonna see people, they do this, the tornado spin. It's called tornado spin. And sometimes people do their entire rings maps with the tornado spin, which is fine, and some people do them just normally, like this. And you're probably going to wonder when you're supposed to use both, or why would you use one or the other. The reason why people use tornado spins is, if you look at kind of the axis my car's on, it's like, right now, it's like, the point at which the car spins is in the center of the car. So if you tornado spin, the center is still kind of the same, but you see the nose is pointing in different directions. So the nose pointing in different directions is really useful when you stop arrowing, because you're able to kind of get like a good angle on the ball, or it's just a lot easier to control when you're kind of just straight up. It doesn't really help you put your nose in any direction. So that kind of helps you like lay down your nose where you want. And then people, like, what I use tornado spins mostly for is it's just from like making sure I'm not going too fast. So let's say I'm going through the rings and I'm going like supersonic speed. So like now I'm going too fast. So if I want to slow down, I would do my tornado spin, and I would boost more towards like more in the front, and that would kind of slow me down backwards a little bit. So let's say I go fast. There, so now I need a tornado spin to slow down a little bit. Went way too fast. You get the point. So don't always tornado spin. It's a little bit more inefficient with boost, but you don't really have to worry about that. I wouldn't tornado spin all the time. It's really preference at the end of the day though, because no one's gonna end up being perfect for this. But I think optimally, it's not as good to always with tornado spin. It's gonna slow you down a little bit, just because the boost isn't always gonna be going in the direction you want. Sometimes it's gonna be going a little bit in front, a little bit in back, and you're not gonna pay attention to when you're boosting. That's also an important thing though. Boosting is everything. You have to be paying attention not only to the arrows you're doing and the directions you're putting your nose in. You have to be paying attention to when you're boosting too, because you have to be able to stay at the perfect vertical height. So you can't just be holding your boost all the time, and you're gonna have to boosting through these little moves to make sure you're actually going anywhere. Because let's say if I do the move, but you know I'm not boosting, I'm not gonna go anywhere. So let's say I want to go right, but I just go like that, and then I boost after. It's not going to help. I need to be able to boost throughout. Or just at least boost more so during. I think that kind of covers the picture and gives some tips for learning this. Is there anything else I want to say? No, leave me comments if you have comments. I'll butcher the brains talking, but leave me comments if you want, and I'll go over your questions.